Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Sierra Flores, and you may have reached this page because you found me on TikTok, that random girl you found on TikTok that was giving Spanish lessons. That's me. Before we dive into the language learning guide, I want to let you know that this will work for any language, okay? But in my specific case, you're going to hear me talk a lot about Spanish. You're going to hear me give Spanish phrases, examples that are all centered around that language. Because, hello, everyday Espanol, it's all going to be Spanish related. But I do want to say that even though I am focusing on Spanish, there are so many other languages, and you can use these tips to learn those languages as well. Alright, here we go. My very first tip is for you to fully immerse yourself in the language. Everywhere. Just language. Because you want to be around it so much that it just becomes a part of you. You think in Spanish, you read in Spanish, you write in Spanish, you speak in Spanish, alright? So, one of the things that you can do is to literally think in Spanish. Say you're sitting in a bubble bath, having some little drinky drink right here, and you're thinking, what do I have to do today? Why not think it in Spanish? A ver, ¿qué tengo que hacer hoy? Okay? You see? Simple. Another thing that you can do as well is to watch movies with subtitles on. That'll help you because you can hear the language and then read it, and then you're also able to comprehend it because you put two and two together. There's the English, there's the Spanish, put it together, add construct meaning. Something else you can do is read books in Spanish, listen to podcasts, and have the transcript right here so that you can read the transcript as the people are speaking. Because then you're going to get a lot of vocabulary and a lot of vocabulary, and that's going to help you whenever you're trying to construct meaning. Another thing too that you can do is to label things in your house with that language. And so like in the kitchen, you could label your silverware. Cuchillos, tenedores, cucharas, so that way you know what it is and you see that repeatedly, and so then the next thing you know, when you go to the restaurant, it's like, oh, what do I need? Necesito un tenedor, por favor. I need a fork, please. Because you remember and you made that connection with, I have forks at my house. Oh, look, there's a fork that I need at the restaurant. So, making those connections, super key for making yourself a full, well-rounded, native, fluent, what am I trying to say here? Speak Spanish. The next thing you want to do is practice speaking that language every single day. You know that quote, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. That is true. That is so true. Do you know how many people I know that have gone abroad to study or on a mission trip or something, and they've come back speaking Spanish, but then within 2 months I'll go to them and be like, hola, ¿cómo está usted? And they'll be like, wait a minute, what did you say? Oh, you asked me how it was, right? They forgot. They forget the language. They lose it because they don't use it, okay? So, the previous tip was to fully immerse yourself. Well, guess what? That continues into this section, which means every single day you're getting exposure to that language, okay? And so, some of the things that you can do, literally speak to yourself in the mirror. That's one thing you can do. Because you're talking, you're watching the way that your mouth is forming the words, and you're listening to your dialect because you're developing your own kind of, your own dialect, the way that you're speaking. Do a recording of yourself on your phone. Open up voice recorder. Hey Siri, open up voice recorder. And then you're going to record yourself speaking in Spanish so that way you can hear the way it sounds and you can make any corrections if necessary. Something else you can do is to download a language learning app. There's nothing wrong with getting Duolingo or Babbel or just footing the bill to go get Rosetta Stone. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people actually start with the learning apps, the language learning apps, and then they kind of move on to different levels of learning, whether that be an online community. They might take some physical classes, they may take classes online, you name it. There's so many different ways that you could learn. But hey, don't sleep on the apps. They work. Another thing you can do is to play music, right? Play songs and then look at the lyrics and read the lyrics, sing the lyrics, as the song is playing. That's going to help you make connections to not only the music, and you're going to feel it's going to uplift your mood a little, but it's also going to help you make connections to what they're saying, and you're going to learn idioms and different types of phrases. My next big tip for you is to focus on the vocabulary, not the grammar. I know that sounds pretty backwards, but think about it. If you hear someone who is learning English, if you hear them say, "Oh, we was there yesterday," you know what they meant. Even though they didn't say properly, "We were there yesterday," you know what they meant. And so for them, it's so much more important to be able to get the vocabulary of saying "we there yesterday." All right? And so now, because they got that vocabulary down, they knew exactly what to say to get their point across. You need to focus on that as well, because remember, you are learning the language and people know that you're learning, and that's okay. But you really got to focus on getting your point across, maybe not doing it perfectly, but the understanding will still be there, okay? So, for example, like when you're going shopping, you can know how to conjugate the verb comprar, to buy. You can conjugate that thing in all the different tenses that exist. But if you don't know how to say shirt, jeans, shoes, that vocabulary, the person that you're asking for help, they're not going to know what to do. You're like, comprar, comprar. What? What do you want to buy? What? And so you have to have the vocabulary to be able to form the rest of that sentence, okay? Even if you wanted to say, comprar comida. That's not you just said to buy food, but people are going to know, oh, this girl wants to eat. She's hungry. Here, let's take her to the food section. All right, you see? So it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you have enough vocabulary to get your point across in the very beginning, okay? My next tip for you is, please don't get caught up in your accent. You don't know how many people have come to me saying, I can't roll my R's. I'm never going to be able to speak Spanish because I can't roll my R's. You can speak Spanish without rolling your R's. It might not sound the same, but that's okay. Are you getting your point across? Yes? Okay, then you did what the intended goal was. You reached the intended outcome. So, rolling your R's, yeah, it sounds great, but you can still speak Spanish without rolling your R's. That accent, you gotta realize that people come from all over the world and speak Spanish. They all have different accents. If you say the word sky, if you listen to somebody from Spain say sky, it's gonna sound completely different than the person in Mexico who says sky. One is gonna sound like this, cielo. The other is gonna sound like this, cielo. Cielo, cielo. Sounds different, but it's the same word, and I know that they both mean sky. The more that you listen to Spanish, you're going to understand different accents and where to put emphasis in certain words, but you're also going to see that there are different dialects and different people say the same word differently, okay? So, I say all this to say, your accent doesn't matter in the beginning. You're learning. Everyone knows that. Sometimes you might say gracias instead of gracias. And that's okay, because we know that you're saying thank you, all right? But if you're really, really caught up in your accent and you really, really just want to sound better, sound more native, then I encourage you to get out your phone, open up, hey Siri, open voice recorder. Open up your voice recorder and then practice speaking. You can even read off some sentences if you want to that have different emphasis and stress on different words, and that way you could hear the way you sound, but then also you can make changes, subtle little changes to the way that you pronounce words, okay? Another tip for you with that is to use your mouth, okay? Because if you look at Spanish speakers, a lot of times they have their mouths open, they're talking, they have emotion, because some of the words are easier to say when you use your whole mouth, okay? Another one of those options is the word pain and the word money, all right? Bills, dollar bills. The way you say it makes a difference, okay? Because if you say dolores, that's pain. dolores. But if I say dólares, that is dollars, okay? So dolores, dólares. Did you see the way my mouth changed? Don't get caught up on your accent. It'll come with time, all right? It'll come with time. My next tip for you is to use the language in real life. Now, that means interacting with actual people, not just yourself all the time. And sometimes people tell me, yeah, but I don't live in a community that has Spanish speakers. You just gotta know where to look. So if you go to your GPS and you type in the word tienda, which means store, you're probably going to end up finding some that are driving distance that you can go to. And in there, that's where you're going to go and bring your little shopping list, and you're going to get some Coca-Cola. You're going to buy some fruits and vegetables, something, just to get the exposure of being in a shop ran by Latinos so you can practice Spanish. You can volunteer with an immigrant organization. They're people that are in need, and so one, they're going to be glad that you're helping them, but two, they're going to be overjoyed that you're actually trying to communicate with them in their native language. So definitely do some community outreach, and that'll help you give back to the community and do just be, I don't know, a good person, but then also it's going to help you with those language skills, okay? Something else that you can do is to attend cultural festivals. Now, these are amazing. They pop up a lot during the summertime and during like around certain holidays, but if you could go to any of these festivals, I'm telling you, there's dancing, there are people in their traditional wear, there's people selling, it's like at the mercado, it's like a little market that sells handmade, homemade goods, and there is authentic food, and people speaking the language everywhere. There's signs and billboards that are in that language so that you're getting exposure there. It's amazing. Like, you're just fully immersed. So I definitely recommend, when it's safe, because of COVID, you definitely want to go to some type of festival, whether that be in person or online, something. It'll be amazing for your language development skills. Another thing you could do, which is you're already probably doing this if you're even on this video right now, follow native Spanish speakers online. That means following them on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the things. Follow them so that way you can see the way that they talk, that they interact with others, the way that they write things, and you can get a feel for how to do Spanish, okay? My last tip for you is, how did I say this? It's an oldie, but a goodie. Flashcards. Literal flashcards. It's like the oldest trick in the book to help you remember language. And so what you'll do is just literally get themed language packs, just like print off some, for example, if I was going to the beach, taking a beach trip, and so I might print out all the vocab associated with going to the beach, put it on my flashcard, and just like run through it. And that's going to help me get the vocabulary, and that's cool, but you're only able to retain it really if you use it. Because think about how many math tests that you've taken and you learn the math for that test, but then in a few weeks after that test is over and your brain is like, oh, I don't need this anymore, you just forget all of it. Ask me if I can do calculus right now. Ask me if I can do trig. You need to Google spaced repetition, okay? That's the format in which you want to practice with your flashcards, all right? It's not the way that we're used to doing it, where you read the card, flip it, read the card, flip it, read the card, flip it. Maybe I'll do a video later on how to do that. But for now, Google it. Yeah, but I mean, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, literally, the better you're going to get, especially if you're using these language skills with another person who's also practicing. So I encourage you to find online a language learning buddy and practice with them. Text them. You can do FaceTime chat with them, Zoom. You can do Skype, however you want to, but chat with somebody somewhere. That was all of my tips for today. I will be putting out videos weekly, so I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope to see you next time. Definitely subscribe to this channel for more Spanish speaking tips and tricks, but then also click like, share this video with someone who's learning a new language, because they might find value in this. All right, and so that's all for today. Hasta la próxima.